Alright, robot, I'm going to try to install this hot tub cover lifter. The way this thing works is these things mount into the concrete somehow. A detail they omitted from the instructions. This thing is a bracket and mounts on here just about like this. The hot tub hangs in between it. So this thing has to be mounted far enough back that I get some clearance when it's mounted onto my hot tub. Get it? So the first order of business, the order of operations, is figure out how far back to mount this thing and then take it from there. Here's my theory on this, by the way. This thing here is not a right angle, it kind of leans back. So in the up position, this thing is going to be about like this, which means that the cover itself will be hanging behind the front edge of this tub right here, which is what you want. We want it not to be hanging over the top of it. So I think this is actually a pretty good position. The hole here is even with the back of the tub. Now, of course, none of this is specified in the frickin' instructions, which is just about right. So I'm winging this, as I sometimes have to do. I'll be back with you in a minute with the drill. Alright, robot, here's the situation. I've had to upgrade my drill bit situation. This thing here won't go down far enough for me to screw these in to get my part in. This has become a test of character. Also, this phone's overheating because it's too sunny. I'll shut this off. Hopefully this here will work. If not, you will know. Here's the outcome. That Milwaukee drill bit did actually work much better than my other one. So therefore I did the right thing by spending the 10 bucks on getting one. As soon as I do it on the other side, I'll try to put these in. Alright, here's how this works. This sits in here like this and bolted in through that hole. This is a knob, and this here is telescoping and adjustable. So when I get that thing in, I'll be able to adjust it at roughly the right length. Put the crossbar piece in here and we'll be in business, I think. The knob goes in right there. See the problem? This thing is in here, but this thing needs to reach out here to the middle, or it's not going to be able to pick out our cover. So what we're going to have to do is move these things to the front a little bit so that it can do that. And I don't know what that's going to look like, but I'm annoyed. Alright, here's the correct answer. I was able to find my connector. This thing here, instead of going all the way to the end, is best mounted right here. When it folds back, the pipe is going to come to about here, and the thing will hang right about here, right about here. So I've got a chance to make it work, but I've got to re-drill out these holes, of course. May or may not need to get a new drill bit depending on what kind of shape my other one's in. But now I know my job. Start drilling again. Alright, here's the situation. The job at hand is to drill 8 holes in this concrete. This was the drill bit that I had in my toolbox, and it lasted 1 hole. The next one, next to it, is the one that I bought from the Home Depot, which said it's supposed to last 3 times longer, and it lasted 7 holes, or 8. I got my holes drilled. Now, for whatever reason, that I'll explain maybe at some point, I had to drill 8 more holes, but it wouldn't last any longer. So now this is my 3rd drill bit, and I bought a 4th drill bit. So the question in all this is, are my expectations too high, that I expected a drill that's supposed to last 3 times longer than something to drill more than 7 holes? Because that comes to about more than $1 per hole, and more than that when it comes time to the account for the trip. And then the answer is, there are a lot of people that are incompetent. Number one, the designer of this thing was incompetent. Well, actually I wouldn't say that. The real problem is that there's lack of alignment into what's important. From the point of view of the Home Depot, is any of this working? The answer is no. The Home Depot, I can assure you, lost money on that transaction. Is the supplier in China competent? Well, they were doing what they were told. They found a market for fake tools, basically, namely me, and they were able to do it. The product manager at the Home Depot who made the decision to put this on the shelf, it's going to be hard to find out who that is, because it's they, whoever they is, made the decision that they should stock these things instead of good ones. Ultimately, who pays the price? Well, me. I'm paying it in life force drainage, because it took me 2 trips to get these drill bits figured out, and I still don't have my holes drilled. There'll be more about this later, but the real problem is lack of alignment and lack of understanding of what's important. Customer satisfaction is important. I'm not satisfied. That's annoying. Alright, I'm back from my 3rd trip to the store. I have 2 more drill bits. I'm going to improve my method by drilling a pilot hole with this small one and trying to drill it out with this big one. We'll see what happens. Here goes the pilot hole. Alright, here goes my regular hole. Let's see what happens. Alright, finally got my holes drilled. Took a long time and a lot of money. I'm going to drill the rest of these out a little bit more just to make sure I've got enough. Alright, here's the situation. I've got this thing installed now. It's installed so that this thing comes across the middle somehow. This is your hinge, and it's going to be the lifter mechanism. And it fits in all the way around, but I haven't tested it yet to see how it actually is going to work. Alright, we're ready for the test. We'll see if I can do this with one hand. Da, 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 da. Now we'll see how this goes back here, if at all. Ruh-roh. Well, there's the answer. I don't have enough clearance in back of this thing. It might go quite a ways back. If it weren't for that thing, I guess I'm going to have to take that down. Oh, I don't want to. There's your answer. I need about 4 feet of clearance in back of this thing in order for it to actually work. And even then, it's going to cover up part of my tub. Alright. Alright, I'm going to try this again. That's pretty easy. Let's pull the strap, see if I can get it easier. Pull this strap, see if I can get it easier. There it is. Do I have access to my controls? Yes, I do. Is it flopped up to the side? Yes, it is. It's sticking about 2 feet too far this way? Yes, it is. I can accommodate that, I think. Alright, let's try to put it back on. Oops. Let's get back here and push it. Alright, it actually wasn't that hard. I'm ready to say, other than adjusting my landscaping, this is going to be pretty good. I'm kind of surprised after all the work. Alright, now we know.